Thank you, parents, so much for joining me, taking some time to just kind of learn some info about our ministry this spring. Um, the most important thing that I want you to know is honestly isn't the info. It isn't the programming and the plans that we have for ministry this spring. Even more important than that is that I'm here for you. I believe that I'm called to minister to students, 6th through 12th grade students, and shepherd them. And I believe that can't be done without a strong connection to each one of you. And so, anything that you need, I hope you know, you can call me, email me, text me, and I want to try to help you and your family, especially in regards to your teenagers. More important than anything else I want to share, I want you to know that. And so, thank you for helping curate the partnership that I have between you and myself to really make an impact on the next generation. One student at a time. And I try to say often that just that every student matters. And I believe that wholeheartedly, and want to make sure that our ministry doesn't let students fall through the cracks as much as God doesn't let any of us fall through the cracks. He loves each one of us personally, and so thank you, thank you, thank you. If you were able to open up the parent info packet, let's see. Links aren't available if you join after they're posted. Let me reshare this just in case you didn't get it. My wife is telling me the links were not available if you joined after I posted. So I'm going to repost so you can open that up and follow along. Okay. Like I said, some of the formatting didn't transition well from a Word doc to a PDF. And so you'll see some words cut off, but they'll be on the next page. Some of the images might have blended, but the links should be there and be useful in the PDF. And so if you're able to open that up, I'm just going to work through that as quickly as I can. And then if that generates any questions, I'll leave time for questions at the end, and just a short prayer. And then I'll let you guys go and enjoy Super Wildcard Weekend or lunch with your family or whatever else you got going on today. So, so the beginning of the packet on page 1 is where I am. And if you're unable to open it, let me know, and I can just share my screen, and then you can just see it on your screen that way. Let's see, Jen, Alan, Laura, Abby, you guys all able to open it?
If you're able to screen share for us right now, it'd be ideal, but it's okay if you can't. We can just listen and then look at it later.
I totally can. I totally can do that. That's what I'm going to do here. So there we go.
Awesome.
All right. All right. So can you guys see that?
Yes.
Make it a little bit bigger here even. Okay. So basically at the beginning, I just have a short greeting just to say thanks so much for taking the time to learn about our ministry, talk about our partnership a little bit, and then some of the things you can find in the packet here, and then just that I hope that it's helpful. And so that's the front page is just kind of like a cover page for you, to you, from me. And then I just kind of start going through some things to remember. So I'm just going to hit the highlights, and then let you guys work through these on your own later, and some more on a deeper level, and then ask questions. But as I'm working through, like I said, if you have questions, just shout them out, or you can use the little raise your hand icon on Zoom, and I will try to look out for that as well. So obviously, if you watch church or were at church this morning, you got to hear from Pastor Brian that we have a brand new app and website. I already have downloaded this on my phone, but you can get that from the App Store or from Google Play. It's available on both Android and Apple phones. And that's going to be really useful as far as connection to the student ministry, even. I think all the ministries here at Gateway, connection to all of them, but obviously for our purposes, connection to the student ministry. I would encourage you, if you have space on your phone, to download it. If you don't have space on your phone, you don't have to do this. So my encouragement would be to free up a little bit of space to get this app. It's going to be super, super helpful in making a stronger connection between folks at home and the church. So if you can download that, then you're going to find a lot of resources on the student page. If you click connect and jump over to the student section of the app, you're going to see some resources there. One of those is a student release form. We talk about it every year. And we have one form to register students, kind of not register as much as like give releases. Give releases to all students to like media releases, medical releases, communication releases for students to attend events with us across the board. And those forms, the student release form goes from August to August. So typically we would have already had a couple events in the fall, but because the fall was unique and we were navigating some things, we didn't really have any events. So if your student hasn't filled that out, we're going to get to a couple events we're doing this spring. They'll need to fill that out for us this spring. That form itself does not supplement forms that other organizations we partner with in these events need. So you might fill that out in August for your student, and then we won't need another form. But then if you go to CIY or to camp, they're going to be they'll ask for their own form. And so, but it's super helpful to us, not only with medical stuff and keeping students safe, but also with communication and media. Obviously, we have functioning social media, and we share pictures and videos, and that release, media and communications release, allows us, and we also reach out to your students through texts and emails and phone calls sometimes. And that media and communications release is you giving us permission to do that, and also gives you a chance to say, hey, I don't get my permission for those things. And so if you've never filled that out, I encourage you to get the app and click on that student release form button and fill that out for us. And then how to register for events. All of our events are through Planning Center, which is an online database, just church management software that we use across the board in all of our ministries. And so those registration links have so far just been available through what we call the Church Center app. We are going to be migrating everything to our proprietary app, our Gateway Christian Church app. And so whenever like for instance, the next event for us that opens will be the high school retreat. When that opens, there'll be a link to it on the app. So no longer will you have to wait for a remind text with a specific link if you didn't want the Church Center app, or like just double check. You'll just be able to open the app and see what events are available to register for your students. And so I'll share more information about that once the high school retreat registration opens. But like I said, the app should be like a one-stop shop. So really excited about that. Okay, so how to find out. So obviously as a ministry, we a couple of our main programs are Sunday morning and Sunday morning at 9:15. We have student classes, and Wednesday evenings, and you guys all here know this, but in case anyone's watching on YouTube later that maybe doesn't know all about our student ministry here, on Wednesday evenings, we meet for youth group from 6 to 8. And we have our ministry functions really solely on volunteer leadership. Myself and our student worship leader are the only paid staff that really helps our programming happen. So we have a bunch of volunteers and a very strong volunteer team. And so I've listed here all of our volunteers in the student ministry over the small groups and the classes. Small groups are Wednesday, classes are Sunday, and then our auxiliary helpers, a lot of those are just repeated, carrying over people having dual roles on the team. But if you see any of those names, specifically over small groups or classes that your kid is in, and you have questions about those leaders as far as like, hey, I'd just like to meet them, or tell me a little bit about them. I can tell you that we vet our leaders very well here at Gateway. They go through a pretty stringent process to be involved in ministries involving minors, a process that is an application, a background check, an interview, and then just continual monitoring and supervision. And so if you do end up wanting to know a little bit more about those leaders, just reach out to me and ask me, and I'd love to either just share with you or connect you with them is the best thing, because those small group leaders and teachers are encouraged and there to be another partner for you in the discipleship of your students. So really excited about this team and love that God has brought this team together, and it's just full of really, really great people. So and that's not all the people that help with the student ministry, by the way. A lot of times you parents will come in and you'll lend a helping hand here and there and do different things, which I always appreciate. And there's also other people that just kind of jump in, and we have an awesome church here at Gateway that helps out. But this is the main team that we see on Sundays and Wednesdays. If you've never joined it, we do have a remind text service. I always try to remind you guys, no pun intended, of that. So if you want to receive free text message updates from the student ministry, text at GCC Stumin to 81010, and you'll start getting those immediately. I sent a reminder about the connection today, the parent connection, with a link. I'll send reminders when like registration deadlines are coming up. Reminders if we're doing like prayer time on Zoom or whatever it might be. Those all come through the text message service. And so I don't spam you. So if you're worried about like signing up for that and then getting spammed, I try not to spam at all. Those messages don't come through. Maybe max you would get is 3 or 4 a week, but usually it's less than that. So okay, so let's talk about some of the events for this spring. We have typically in the spring, we have 2 main events for middle school and high school. One would be the high school retreat, and 2 would be the middle school conference. So let's talk about the high school retreat. This is a little bit tentative because we're still working out the details in regards to going to High Hill for it, which is what we've done in the past. It's gone really well. However, things are different this year. This retreat snuck in right before the pandemic. Really, everything came down last year. And so we are wanting to and planning to go out to High Hill for the high school retreat this year. It'll be February 5th through the 7th. 9th through 12th graders will be welcome and invited and encouraged to come. The retreat is an awesome weekend for our high school students to kind of get away from school and some of the stresses of their life and just spend time with the Lord in a beautiful place like High Hill Christian Camp, and focusing on digging into His Word. And this year we have a really important topic to discuss at the retreat, which I will get to. But like I said, it's tentative right now just because we're still kind of making sure we have all the assurances in place to make it a safe retreat for all of our students. And so once all those are in place, which they should be by the 15th when we want to open registration, so I think that's this Friday, then we will know for sure these plans will be set in stone. But for right now, these are our plans kind of tentatively. I don't expect any of them to change, but if they do, you'll know if you have a high school student. So looking at February 5th through the 7th, that's the first full weekend in February. Transportation, due to the pandemic, we won't be able to provide transportation. So I know that's a big change and will be a challenge to some of our students in high school. We want every student to have the opportunity to go. So if you have a high school student that wants to attend, but transportation is a challenge, I encourage you to reach out to someone and figure out a safe way to get your student there. I know it's difficult, and I can't necessarily sponsor or encourage carpooling, but there are, I believe, safe connections that can be made, and so I definitely want to see students that if driving is a challenge, I want to try to figure that out. So if nothing else, contact me and I don't want to help make some of those important connections to get your student there. So we won't be able to drive our students out there, but students will be need to figure out how to get out there on their own. And then arrival time will be Friday at 7 p.m. or Saturday at 8 a.m. So the actual retreat, like the main sessions we do with the messages and the worship and some of the games, that won't start till Saturday morning. Last year, over the past couple of years, really, we've recognized that some of our high school students can't get to the retreat till Saturday morning because of extracurricular activities or something else they had going on Friday night. Most of the time it's extracurriculars. And so what we're going to do this year is invite students to come out on Friday night and if they're coming on Friday, they'd need to be there by 7 out at High Hill. And then Friday night they can play games, get settled into their room, and eat some snacks. But we won't really get started with their retreat till Saturday morning. And so any students that can't get there till Saturday morning can arrive at 8 a.m. Need to arrive by 8 a.m. on Saturday, which would be an early morning, but we got to get an early start on Saturday to just make full use of the day. And so that's an option we want to introduce this year, that especially with providing your own transportation, we thought that would be a good option. Typically we've started on Friday night, but we'll wait till Saturday morning to really get started. So we should return by 9 a.m. in time for church. So we'll encourage students to stay the night with us on Saturday, and then be back in time for church on Sunday. Cost is $65 per student. We're asking if that can be turned in by January 31st. That's the Sunday before the retreat. And we put it so late so that as many students as possible as want to can come. And if that is a challenge, if so, we talked about transportation being a barrier. If cost is a barrier for your student to come and they really want to come, please, please, please reach out to me. Please, if it helps at all, I grew up in a family that cost was a constant challenge, and so please don't be reluctant to reach out to me for any reason at all if cost is a barrier for your student to attend an event. And I want to make those connections to get your student to the retreat because it's going to be an awesome one this year. So like I said, we're going to be at High Hill. Tentatively, the theme this year. So the theme is more to the story. So every other year in our student ministry, we cover a very, very important and relevant topic for adolescents, and that is sexuality in their body and God's plan for sex and relationships. This is, I recognize a very sensitive topic, a topic that will make some parents and lots of students say, why at church? We believe it's so important though, because students from sixth grade and up, and even honestly, even earlier than that, in today's culture, are encountering sex and relationships through a plethora of mediums, through social media, through school, through friendships, and through a lot of other online sources and sometimes literature. And so where all those voices are speaking on sex and relationships into the lives of our adolescents, we don't want the church to be a voice that's silent about that issue in particular, an issue that is so important. And so we believe our voice as a church should be one that speaks into that, speaks righteousness, speaks God's plan, speaks the Bible into that. And so that's why we deal with this topic every other year in a middle school and high school ministry. And so for high schoolers, we do it in a little bit of a special way. We do it at a retreat, a weekend that's immersive and really gives them a chance to make the strongest connection to the material and to God, and make an important decision about their sexual integrity. And so this year's theme for the high school retreat is called More to the Story. And so we'll spend 4 sessions walking through that. And if you want more info on that theme and you want the message outlines and the small group leader questions, so in other words, the outlines I'll be preaching from, and the questions that they'll be asked in small group, then you can click this little link right here, this blue link that says want more info on this year's theme. Excuse me, click here, click there, and you'll be able to find the small group leader guides and the message outlines. And so you might not be able to click on my screen because I'm screen sharing, but if you can open the link that I shared earlier, you'll be able to see those. And I'll also be emailing this video once I upload it to YouTube, along with the parent info packet to you later in a PDF for you to be able to see. And so we recognize that, yes, it's sensitive. Yes, we want to have a voice in this because we believe God has called the church to equip the saints for the good work of the kingdom. And if we're going to do that, then we need to have a voice on this topic because God has a voice on sex and relationships. And so, yes, at the same time, we want to equip you as parents to be prepared to continue this conversation once your student arrives home. With high schoolers, it's going to be arriving home from the retreat. We're praying that God will put something heavy, a challenge on their heart, a realization that they needed, a conviction that he wanted to place on them, and that they'll be able to bring that home, talk to you or someone who's a mentor for them at home, and just continue that, because what happens at the retreat doesn't continue at home, then it doesn't really matter, right? And so we want to put this information in your hands to be able to really sift through it, even before the retreat, be praying for our students to have their hearts moved and changed, and even make an informed decision about whether you feel like your student is ready for this conversation. And if not, we're totally and completely supportive of that. And I'll talk about our support of that, especially for middle school, here in a few minutes. So to keep the retreat as safe as possible, we're requiring students to meet these guidelines to be able to attend the retreat. So it's really just 2. One is students must receive a negative COVID test within 7 days of February 5th. That's the first day of the retreat. So they just need to go to Walgreens or something and get a test in plenty of time before within 7 days of the retreat as far as results. And then students must be symptom-free for 24 hours. So that is all the symptoms that the CDC lists. And you can find that on their website. But by now, almost a year into the pandemic, most of us are pretty familiar with the symptoms. To keep students safe, we'll be conducting the following measures during the retreat: temperature checks at every meal, hand sanitizing stations and cabins, dining hall and bathrooms, no self-serve meals. So all those will be prepared by the staff. Meals and worship time, sitting with cabins to minimize cross contact. Any student who becomes symptomatic will be quarantined and sent home as quickly as possible. Students will not be required to wear a mask at the retreat due to meals and sleeping time. So we understand that typically, in every environment that we're conducting our programming, students are required to wear masks 100%. However, at the retreat, we're going to be sleeping in our cabins together, and we're going to be eating together multiple times, and masks will be off during those times. And so we're not requiring students to wear masks the entire time. However, any student that comes out needs to have tested negative and be symptom-free for 24 hours. And we're going to be doing the temperature checks and be monitoring any symptomatic students during that time as well. And we're also going to be trying to minimize cross contact by sitting with our cabins at meal times and at worship times. And so, are there any questions or even additional things that you feel like, those of you who are with me right now, that you feel like we could be doing to keep our students safe at the retreat? Okay. Well, if you do, feel free to type it in the chat, and you can message me directly if it's something you'd rather not everyone see, or you can email me or call me and let me know. But we really want to go out there. I know our students really want to go out there. So these are the things that we just have to do to be able to do that, to offer assurances to all our families at Gateway that, hey, our student ministry is practicing health and safety guidelines, and also to keep our students safe. And so let's talk about the middle school conference. So our middle school conference, this is very tentative. There's a meeting happening this week amongst some of the youth pastors here in St. Louis about the details of this conference, but typically it happens at the end of February or the beginning of March. So possibly March 5th and 6th. And I don't have a whole lot of information about this yet. The cost will be $50 per student. Location will be right here in St. Louis. Probably because of the pandemic, we won't be staying at host homes. Well, definitely won't be staying at host homes, and we probably won't be staying up at the church. And so what we'll do is encourage our middle school students just to come Friday night and then go home, and then come back on Saturday morning for the conference. Again, we have a lot of details still to plan for this one. And again, these are things I love to have planned way ahead of hand, but the pandemic has really made planning far ahead difficult, which for me, a type A personality, is extra difficult. And some of you will know what I mean because maybe you share that same approach to life. But the middle school conference, we still have a lot of details to nail down. So again, transportation, they'll have to provide their own register on the Gateway app. Middle school conference is a high energy weekend of worship, which is just an overnighter, usually Friday, Saturday. We're done by Saturday afternoon. Last year we started coming together with several Christian churches here in St. Louis to pull it off, because Believe moved out of town, and Believe's not actually even going on tour at all this year because of the pandemic. And so we will come together again as churches to pull off the middle school conference. And it's for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Really excited about it. But again, we've got to figure out some more of the details. So students will be sleeping at home, and students will be required to wear masks for this event. Okay, so that's the two big events this spring. Big events this summer. One is CIY Move. That's just for high school students or 8th graders who are 8th graders right now going into high school in the fall of 2021. They'd be welcome to attend. But right now, CIY is happening. We are pre-registered to go to, we've already made our deposits actually, to go to Holland, Michigan, which I'm super pumped about. This description has several links on it about the college we'd be staying at, Hope College. It's June 21st to the 26th. The cost is $450. That helps provide, obviously, room and board for the week. The cost of the conference itself, transportation, and one of the meals on an extended rec activity on Thursday. Extended rec at Move is the day we kind of leave the campus and we go and do something fun as a group together. And so that cost kind of builds that in. And so we're hoping, and again, this is tentative. Obviously, plans can change, and I think that's something that I don't know if we still need reminded of right now, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I do remind us all of. Plans can change because of everything going on with the pandemic, and so these are our plans. However, these could change. So right now, we're hoping to be able to provide transportation because it's a 6.5 hour drive up to Michigan, and we realize it's unrealistic to ask students to all find their own transportation there. And so if we're going to go, we will. If we're going to go, we will be providing the transportation to Move. But it's a 5-day high school event held all over the country, and for us, we're going to Michigan to designed to amplify the call of Christ on students' life to be a kingdom worker. It's an incredible, life-changing event. We only do every other year, and so we didn't get to go last summer. So we asked some of the seniors and of our student leaders, and they said, "Hey, let's go back to Move." And so, if you want more information about Move, you can click on this blue link here. It'll take you to the Move website and tell you all about what CIY Move is if you're unfamiliar with it. Registration will open at the end of this month, January 27th for that. At registration, there'll be a $65 deposit due. And we're making an investment in Christ in Youth, CIY, as an organization, meaning we don't get those deposits back. However, if the event were to be canceled, we would give those deposits back to parents. The church would simply, if that event were canceled, the church has chosen to support Christ in Youth as a Christian church restoration movement organization, and leave those deposits with them, or at the same time, if the event gets canceled, we will refund in full those deposits to our families. But those deposits would be due February 17th. Again, transportation to be decided, but it would be a charter bus. Departure time 6 a.m. on June 21st, so it's pretty early. And return time 6 p.m. on June 26th. There's more info about the theme on the website, but the theme this year is pretty cool. It's all about the gospel and how it's for them as individuals, but also it's for everybody forever. And so really excited about CIY Move. So for those of you who have high school students and are here, any questions about CIY Move? Okay, well, let's keep moving along here. High Hill Christian Camp. So camp this summer, High Hill Christian Camp is our camp we support, we love. We're actually on the board of the High Hill Christian Camp isn't owned by an individual or an organization. It's owned by a network of churches, Christian churches in our area, and we're one of those churches. And so we love our camp. Students, middle school students go every year and get baptized, and those younger get baptized in droves. And then high school students every now and then will get baptized. For the most part, high school students go to grow and to have an incredible immersive week of discipleship. And so the theme this year is Ready, Set, Go. That was conference about last fall. Really excited about that theme. For high school camp is July 25th through the 30th this year. So it's at the end of July, which is a difference. That's a definite move of those dates. So if you have a high school student or soon to be a high school student, I would mark those dates down and try to remember those for high school camp this year. And then check-in opens 3 p.m. on Sunday, ends 11 a.m. on Friday. Cost is $200 per student. Try to get that in by April 1st. That's not through our app. So registration for camp is through the High Hill Christian Camp website, not through the Gateway app. So if you want your student to go, you want to get on the website and check that out. We do offer scholarships for members and regular attenders of Gateway. So if you have a student that is part of our church, we give them a $75 scholarship to camp. If they served in any way here at Gateway through some of our programs, there might be opportunity for additional scholarships. Just talk with me if additional help is needed. So excited about that. Junior high camp this year is July 18th through the 23rd. So it's going to be back-to-back weeks of camp for us, which is cool. And so July 18th through 23rd is going to be junior high 2 camp. So if you have a junior higher, so like Abby, actually, is Lincoln going to be in high school? Wow, he might be. That's crazy. It's always crazy to me when an 8th grader goes from 8th grade to high school. But if you have a junior higher, make sure when you get on the website, you register for junior high 2, not junior high 1 or 3. I think there might be a 3 We're going to 2 this year. And so that's July 18th through the 23rd. Same theme. And there's more information there about that week of camp. So any questions about High Hill Camp this summer? Okay. Again, if you have questions, feel free to direct message me or let me know later. Really excited about camp. Again, plans could change. Camp worked really hard to keep students safe last summer. They were able to have, over 1,000 campers at camp last summer and no cases of COVID, which is nothing short of a miracle. And so we're hoping, for more of the same this summer. Online schedule this spring. So I'm going to introduce some new and some reinvigorated online opportunities for students to connect this summer or this spring. So in other words, starting in February, what we're going to do is host an Instagram live show from Gateway students from our Instagram at GCC Steuben. We're not going to do that like super often, but we're going to do that twice a month on our Instagram account. So on second and fourth Thursdays at 8 p.m., we'll have an Instagram live show that airs. That'll start in February. So the second Thursday in February would be the first one. So that would be February 11th. Okay, February 11th would be the first Instagram live show. And basically what we're going to do is kind of a late night show for students, obviously Christ-centered, but we'll have some fun on it. Maybe eat some crazy stuff, do some interactive things. Each show will probably be, 30 minutes to an hour long. We're still workshopping it a little bit, but excited to make that offering for students this spring to kind of reinvigorate some of the online things and kind of get back to making a stronger connection with some of our students that need to stay home and choose to stay home. We're also going to do Zoom prayer time Lunchables. So this past week, we actually did the first one, but we're going to do them regularly starting in February, every first and third Thursday, meaning that basically every Thursday during the spring, we're going to have an online offering for students. And so second and fourth will be Instagram Live in the evening. First and third will be a lunchtime Zoom prayer meeting at 12 p.m. And so students will be able to jump on Zoom with us on their phone, or if they're at home on their computer, and just for a short time of prayer and connection. And so excited about that. And then I list a bunch of resources that are actually really great resources for parents to connect with and to read about teenage discipleship today. This one in particular, and again, it's messed up on this app or on this PDF. I will try to amend that before I send out the link. But this one in particular is really great to prepare for the conversations we're going to be having this spring with your students. And so, again, I got to get this fixed. Again, it didn't transfer very well from Microsoft Word, but the parent queue, that's something we send home. If you've been getting those emails or been seeing them in our parent newsletter and you're not sure what the parent queue means, parent queue is a way for us to engage you at home and you to engage students at home with the material we're talking about at youth group in particular. So every Wednesday night at youth group, we're working through a series from a curriculum provider called Orange Students. And so they, one of the strongest philosophies and why we love them so much is the connection, the partnership between the ministry and the parents to disciple the student. And the fact that, hey, I have so many hours of influence a year, and the small group leaders do too with students, but you have so many more hours every year to influence them. And so the parent queue helps engage you in engaging with your student about the material we're talking about at youth group. So when you get that, check it out. There's also a blog on their website with parents that post stuff saying, hey, I'm going through this, or I went through this recently. This is how kind of I worked through it, how my faith grew. That's a really encouraging website. There's a podcast called Parent Queue Live, and there's an app called the Parent Queue, which I use with my kids, is really great as well. So the Parent Queue is a hub of resources for parents who are trying to discipling their children. And so I encourage you to check that out if you haven't yet. Social media. So staying connected to Gateway Student Ministry. So hopefully you follow us on Facebook. Usually if I'm posting on Facebook, I'll title it with Hey Parents, because that's most of who's looking at our post on Facebook is parents. On Instagram, a lot of those posts will be directed towards students. So if you follow us on Instagram, check that. It says Instagram. but it's Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, I encourage you to do that. YouTube, our YouTube account obviously became a lot more active this year. You all helped us reach 100 subscribers, so we're at like 115 now, I think. That gave us our own URL, which is really cool. But youth group will always be shared on that every Wednesday night, and other videos that we create will also be put up on there. Our Instagram live shows, if you don't follow us on Instagram or your student's not allowed on Instagram, will be uploaded to our YouTube channel later as well, probably the Mondays following. And so Remind Tech Service, we talked about that. The student webpage, that's brand new website. So I encourage you guys to go and check out the brand new website. This link, and shame on me, this is actually the incorrect link. And so if you go to the app, you're going to see the same thing that you're going to see on our website. Student activities calendar. So I'll get to that. That's at the end here. And then parent newsletter. I try to send those out once a month. The January one is almost, it's started and should go out on Monday. The parent newsletter. It'll include all of this stuff in it that I'm going over with you, plus a little bit more. But the parent newsletter is really cool. It's available on our app, and it's just a connection for you every month with information in our ministry, and also, most importantly, encouragements for you as a parent of a teenager. And so I encourage you to, if you've gotten those emails and you're like, maybe I'm not going to check that out, I encourage you to click on that link, check it out. Those are newsletters that I put together, and for you to be encouraged. So if you want, so how we're going to approach the middle school series on sex and relationships is a lot different than how we'll approach the high school one. So we don't take our middle schoolers on a retreat for it, and we approach it in a lot lighter and not more superficial, but just more elementary ways. And I wouldn't necessarily say that to them, but in ways that are a little bit less specific, less further on, if you know what I mean. A high schooler is further on developmentally in their relationships and what they've experienced or what they know about than a middle schooler. And so I provided all the small group leader guide, all the small group leader questions, and all the message outlines as well at this link here for if you have a middle schooler that's going to be experiencing this series this semester. And that's going to be in February, from February, like I believe it's February 10th through March 3rd. Those 4 Wednesdays, we'll be going through the series called Awkward, which is a fun name, for middle schoolers on sexual integrity. And so really, really excited to dig into that, but want to make sure you parents are informed to be able to engage them at home, yes, but also informed to be able to make a decision whether your student is ready for that yet or not. And again, fully supportive, and also don't want students that aren't ready for that to have to stay home from youth group. And so we offer and will be offering an alternative series at youth group for middle school students whose parents exempt them from the series, from the Awkward series, which is such a funny name. But the alternative series is a series called Soul. It's actually, the theme is from Disney's new movie Soul. If you haven't seen it yet, it's actually pretty good, as long as you understand that it's not real. But basically it'll be the alternative will be a 4-week series just talking about our soul, how to care for our soul, what a soul is, according to the Bible and God. And so I think that will be a really interesting and powerful topic for students that just aren't quite, middle school students that aren't quite ready for this conversation. And so if you have questions about that, just let me know, and I'd love to talk to you more about that. So usually I put together a very involved spring calendar that gives you lots of information about events way ahead of time. However, things are very fluid right now because of the pandemic. And so last semester, I didn't even put together a calendar at all because I just was trying to get my bearings and figure out, okay, how do we approach this? So this semester, I put together a calendar, but it's very abbreviated compared to what we usually do. And so there's not really event descriptions, again, because they're fluid. But as you look over this calendar, if there are questions you have about events that maybe are new or whatever it might be, please reach out to me. Also, any event coming up, you'll get emails about it. You'll see posts on Facebook, Instagram about it. You get text messages about it. So you'll have the information you need. But if you need information earlier, just feel free to reach out to me and I can share. Some of the events I'm excited about that we're trying to pull off this spring would be the game night that's put on by our student leaders at the end of this month. They're planning that and putting that together. The missions night at youth group, really excited about that. It's going to be a night at the end of a series we're calling oh shoot, what is it? Actually, I have this for you as well. Let me pull it up here. Series guides. Here we go. Spring 2021. So end of a series called Do Something. So this right here that I have pulled up right here is a series guide. It'll tell you all the series we're working through for the spring and youth group for high school and middle school. And so I'm going to share this with you guys. I got to get it uploaded to Google Drive, but this is all prepared and ready to go. At the end of this series called Do Something, which is a series focused on injustice, we're going to have a missions night, talk about some of the missions, and hopefully get someone to come out to share, one of our missionaries to come out and share or send a video to connect with our students, this idea of mission. So excited about the missions night. At the beginning of our series, Awkward for Middle Schoolers, that night, the launch of that series, we're actually doing a family night. So we're inviting parents to come and experience youth group with us. We think it's going to be really beneficial, especially for parents of middle schoolers as we start that series. And so mark your calendar for February 10th and try to, if you can, plan on attending youth group with your kid. Really excited to have parents in the room. We'll play some fun games and maybe pit family versus family or parents versus students. Those are some fun things that we always like to do. Not to divide families, obviously, but just to have fun. And so mark February 10th. That'll be a fun night. Senior Connection, if you have a senior student this semester, we plan 3 senior connections. That's going to be breakfast on Saturday mornings. And so excited to make those connections with our seniors as they get ready to go. I want to just make some strong connections with them before they go. And so middle school comics, small groups only night. Excited about those things. Easter's coming up very early in April this year. Service day. So we're planning, this is kind of fun. So we're doing a We Love St. Louis night this semester. Basically, it's going to be a night where we encourage students to wear St. Louis stuff. We're going to hopefully have some St. Louis themed snacks like toasted ravs and gooey butter cake and things like that. And just kind of have like an all St. Louis themed night. So we're excited about that. And also going to try to get someone from Love the Lou to come out and maybe figure out a way that we can help them. So we're not only having fun and saying, hey, we love St. Louis because it's fun, but also we love St. Louis and we want to give back. We want to give in the name of Jesus to our city as well. And so excited for that. Our theme nights in the past have really just been focused on fun. And so I wanted to figure out a way, and the Holy Spirit is leading me to figure out a way to elevate that to a higher purpose. And so excited about that. Service Day is a Saturday in the spring, which we're hoping to be able to organize some opportunities for students to get out and go to some of our members' houses around that can't really do any yard work in the spring. And be able to get out and help them out, or maybe some work on the exterior of their house or whatever it might be, whatever we're able to organize. That's the plan there, again, to give students a service opportunity to serve like Christ. Senior night at youth group, that'll be our last youth group of the spring, and then we'll get ready for summer. So that's all put together for y'all. Okay, that's all I had to work through with you, and it's 1:44, so I want to let you guys go and get back to your day. But let me turn off the screen so you can see me. Thank you all so much for taking the time to walk through that with me. Like I said, that's a lot of information. None of that is nearly as important as you remembering that, our ministry exists. I am in place. I am called to be a partner with you and for you in the lives of your teenagers, to disciple them, help them to know Jesus better, to live for Christ, grow in Christ, serve like Christ, and make disciples of Christ. And so please reach out to me if I can help in any way. And I want to be that resource for you, as well as our other volunteers, leaders, and teachers. And so that is all that I had to share today. And so I'll send an email with all the links to these documents and stuff. Let's see. And I appreciate you all. So we'll talk to you soon, and get your students ready for relaunching youth group this Wednesday. Really excited about that. So we'll start with our Do Something series this Wednesday. So registration will open tomorrow. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Thank you. Those of you sending me messages, I appreciate that. That encourages me a lot. And so thank you. And I'll see you guys later.